The Shepnaz Podcast begins now.
Welcome to the Shepnaz Podcast. I'm Joe, and I'm your host today. And today we have a treat for you. A long-time person that you may have seen around Shepherd. Maybe you've never got a chance to get to know him, though. And this is Bryan Proseck. He's coming in, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about his life, a little bit about what God is doing with him, and some issues. Over the next couple days, we're going to talk about things that he has felt called to address and how God is working through him. So welcome in, Bryan.
Hey, thanks, Joe. Thanks for having me.
I am very happy to have you. I have to admit, I did just a little bit of homework, not a whole lot of homework, but I did a little bit of homework because I knew we were going to be talking, and I thought maybe I should present myself as somebody that actually checked up on, the people I'm getting ready to talk to. I hope it didn't cross over into the realm of trolling. I wasn't trying to do that, but I did find out a few really interesting things about you, and we'll get into those in a little bit. But first of all, kind of introduce yourself to us and tell us a little bit about yourself, if you would.
Sure. So, thanks, Joe. So, been married to, you probably seen my wife, Deanne, around, and probably maybe more so the kids, Luke and Lucy. Luke does quite a bit with the church. He's on the board and with, I know works with you on the tech crew. Mm-hmm. And Lucy's kind of back now for the summer, just graduated college from MVNU. My day job is an attorney, so do corporate transactional work with a law firm here in Columbus. That's kind of, and been going to Shepherd. We've been going for I think about 14 years now. So been members of Shepherd.
All right, so you guys must have come in the door about the same time our family did, I think, because I think we started back in 2013, right around that time frame. So, you guys are in the door a little bit before us, but yeah, it's been a good ride so far.
Yeah.
So, what are the kinds of things that you're into in the church? What things do you get involved in, or that you're interested in?
Right. Yeah. Probably and I haven't now for a while, but probably the biggest involvement was in the basketball program. And that's actually, I think, how we actually originally found Shepherd. So there's probably a lot of people have that story. But Lucy did a little bit, but mostly Luke played, and I coached. I coached for a number of years in the program. And other than that, I went on one of our mission trips to Guatemala with Pastor Rob and a whole crew. That was an outstanding experience, and really enjoyed that. So those are kind of my main involvement.
Is that the one my son Caleb went on? Was
yes,
he on that trip?
Caleb was on that.
Yes.
Yep.
I do think that there is a closely held video of your son that danced down in Guatemala. So I won't be the one to release that, but if you're listening and you're interested, there are people that have it in their possession. So that's great. I know that there was a lot of people that had a really great time with that. So also you had mentioned that your day job, that you're an attorney, and I know you've been able to help out the church numerous times, taking a look at things. I mean, even as recently, making sure that we do what we should do when we're looking at leasing property and so forth for Johnstown, those kinds of things.
Yeah. I guess you didn't even think of that, neglected. So yeah, there's been a number of items that I've worked with Pastor Rob and Tim and the board on is pro bono for the church, and that's going really well. I enjoy it. I love to help out wherever I can.
Well, it is very much appreciated, and it's a great resource to have, not just to use you for, your professional abilities for free, but boy, I tell you, it has come in clutch many times around here, and so we really do appreciate that. Now, okay, so I'm going to get on to the trolling part now. All right. I had no idea about this, and, I kind of felt bad that I didn't. So I'm going to give you a chance to kind of plug some things that's going on in your life. I discovered that you are a published author, and yeah.
So when you mentioned that, I figured that's where that was going. Yeah, that's great.
No, so tell me a little bit about that, kind of your passion for writing and where that's taken you, and kind of some of the works that you've done, if people are interested in checking that out.
Yeah, no, appreciate it, Joe. Appreciate it. So I started. It's been quite a while ago, but even before I was going to Shepherd, is writing. Just started writing, and I love science fiction, books, movies, TV shows. So I had an idea of a science fiction book that I wrote. And it's young adult science fiction, and just worked on it in the evenings, and took me actually a number of years to write. But at the end of the day, it's a long story. But ended up I got a publisher, traditional publisher, that accepted it and published it. And then since then, I've written a sequel to that science fiction, and both young adult, and then another young adult, kind of more dystopian type book. I actually have, since you asked.
Well, see, just like any professional author that's on a podcast will always have a bookshelf behind them that has their books on it, right?
Exactly. So that's The Brighter the Stars. It's probably reversed on the camera. The sequel's The Darker the Skies.
Yeah.
And then we have A Measure of Serenity, which is kind of the more dystopian parallel universe type story.
Now, is that the most recent one then, or is that what order did they come in?
Actually, it was The Brighter the Stars, A Measure of Serenity, then the sequel, The Darker the Skies.
Okay.
And and now then I've kind of shifted genres, and I've written a murder mystery manuscript. Which I have an agent that has that she's trying to submit it for publishing right now. And then I just finished a manuscript for an action thriller that I'm still kind of cleaning up with an editor, and then that'll go to my agent. So these next two are kind of shifting genres, just trying something different. So, but I'm excited about those.
So then the next one will be like a sci-fi murder mystery then, right?
There you go. There's actually the action thriller has sci-fi in it. So it's kind of has a touch of it. So that is close to what you're just mentioning.
Well, they say write what you know. So, I mean, like, if those are the two areas, you might as well just work them together then. But you've also, it looked like, through your social media posts and so forth, that like you've been on book tours and book signings, that kind of thing. And how's that going?
So I enjoy doing those. So I've kind of I guess trying to think, going to Pittsburgh and Louisville is probably the farthest I've traveled, and then a number of them around here. I've done Ohio-Anna a few times, which is downtown at the main library, book festival, the Columbus Book Festival in the summer. But yeah, those are great opportunities just to get kind of meet people and get your name out. You're not going to them to sell a bunch of books. It's although you get that's people come so they can buy it directly from you. You sign it and they walk away with it. So it's just a lot of fun getting to meet the readers and people that are interested.
Well, I'm definitely going to be looking up some of those and maybe catch up on some of your reading. I think you would probably fit in the genre of the kind of fiction that I like to read. One of the fiction writers that I follow is Ted Decker, and I kind of like his. He does, I guess I would put him in the vein, and I don't want to oversell it, but kind of like a modern day C.S. Lewis, where he does stories that have kind of a spiritual undertone, a line, but they're done kind of in an allegory kind of way, but he definitely has some either dystopian or sci-fi kind of tendencies in some of his writing. I don't know if you've ever encountered his writings or not.
I have not read. I should, now that you've mentioned it, know of him, but I have not read any of his.
But so anyhow, where can we find your books if we're looking?
Yeah, so they're everywhere. Anywhere books are sold, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, online, and then or you can I have an author website, www.bryankproseck.com, and there's links to my publisher's website and everything on there. Got a you can sign up for my newsletter. I try to get out quarterly. To keep up the updates on what I'm writing and working on, or where book festivals or book fairs that I'm going to.
Nice.
If you just search my name on Amazon, it'll pop up. You probably found it in your trolling.
Right.
We're excited about those of you interested in learning more about church membership and what that's all about. We will have a membership class Wednesday, May 29th. If you are considering coming, drop an email to podcast@shepnaz.org and let us know so we can get some information out to you.
But we're going to go into a much more serious subject tomorrow, but kind of as a transition for that, could you tell us a little more about, we've kind of got to see your everyday, who you are, a little bit more about kind of your spiritual life, and tell us a little bit about your walk of faith and how you came to Christ, and a little bit about how you've come closer to Jesus over the years.
Yeah. So I don't have one of those epiphany moment stories, or any sudden change or event in my life. Is kind of one of those where I born and raised into a Christian household. I grew up Catholic, and so my faith started early, with my parents and whole family, and just kind of grew through that. When I married Deanne, she was her family was actually Baptist, and so we started going to the Baptist church. And I think I grew a lot more there, and during that time, just learned a lot more. It's the Catholic is quite a difference. Most people probably know the Catholic faith is a lot of ritual and not as much really digging into the Bible, where I learned to do that and more. And as our time through the Baptist church, and then we were going to, I think at the time here, lived in Toledo for when we first married, but back here it was Carl Road Baptist. But we lived we moved into Blacklick on this side of town, and found the like I say, started with the basketball at Shepherd Naz, and it was nice and close, and that's what we started going to Shepherd Naz, love it there, and just continued to grow, through the different ministries. And I did spend a lot of time up until COVID with Jeff Westerman's group, small. So got involved in a small group there, and so it's that's kind of a story. Nothing exciting, I guess, in it, but it's been just kind of a gradual growth.
Well, I think that's the perfect setup, because I'm sure a lot of people that can relate to kind of your testimony, where it's like, well, I've been involved in the church. I just kind of have grown closer to Jesus over the years as I've learned more about him, and I've dedicated my life to him. And for you, like you said, well, I have no special story, and that's so much more accessible, I think, than sometimes when people say, yeah, I was out on the street and I went through this horrible time, and they're like, I've never lived that life. I can't relate to that. And the reason I'm setting it up that way is because even though you quote unquote have this normal testimony story, God has called you to be involved in something much bigger than yourself. And he has called you he's given you a heart for an issue that we're facing in this world. And instead of just sitting on the sideline, you decided to get in and do something. And so we're really going to get into that tomorrow. But if you would just give us a little bit of a teaser and tell us what it is that God has put on your heart and an issue that you feel like you need to help be a part of the solution.
Sure. No, thank you, Joe. Yeah, I mean the issue's human trafficking, and it just kind of has been kind of it had to be God put it on my heart is to just try to get involved. It's just kind of became a passion of mine as far as trying to do what little, even if it's just a tiny piece it could do to try to prevent this this crime basically. And so it's both labor and sex trafficking, which is a worldwide problem. It happens right under our nose, right here in Columbus, but it's everywhere. So it's a huge issue, so just that's what we'll talk about more.
Right. I think it's a great setup. I really want to thank you for being part of this, and I hope this encourages you as you're listening. You might think that, I'm just, normal Joe or whatever, and God can still use you, and he has something special for you to do. So tomorrow we're going to get more into Bryan's story and how he's been called to help address the human trafficking issue. You can keep up with everything going on in the church by going to shepnaz.org. Also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. For Bryan, I'm Joe. Have a great day. This podcast is a production of the Shepherd Church of the Nazarene, Gahanna, Ohio. Email to podcast@shepnaz.org and let us know what you think.